Welcome. From BioClose, tonight I'll try to talk about bioinformatics and industry, especially on the aspect of developing countries. I am Parthisharthi Das from the BioClose organization, and later my fellow member from BioClose, Rajdeep Poddar, will take over the talk. To start with, we will talk about the need of bioinformatics, the application areas of bioinformatics and global scenario, bioinformatics as business, challenges for bioinformatics industry, and bioinformatics and employment. Let's start with the origin. Recently, we just had the 60th anniversary of deciphering the genetic code or our DNA structure. And basically, uh, from then the biophysicists tried to study the protein structure, tried to see how the proteins are made up, and bioinformatics has developed from this onwards. In 2003, we had seen the Human Genome Project, where we decoded the human genome and we wrote the book of DNA. And it is said that if we just type all the codes A, T, G, C's, and then all the myriad these combinations in a book and print it in a standard format, and then just make the volumes of that book of the same code that is present in a single cell of our body, then the volumes, if stacked up, will be higher than the Empire State Building. So there comes the need of bioinformatics. We have seen this kind of DNA sequencing, microarrays, and different other high throughput technologies has been generating a huge amount of data. And we needed to store this data and we needed to retrieve this data in a very efficient manner. And also the important thing was studying this data and analyzing this data. So when the raw data are there, we need to correct those data, we need to then annotate those data, and for that also it was important that the computer programs should be able to automatically annotate the data. And thus computer scientists, biologists, mathematicians, statisticians came all together to make this field happen, where in an integrated manner they built some customized tools, techniques, where they could annotate the biological data, where they could make some good biological databases, and where they made lots and lots of analytical systems by which today we are studying the biological systems around us. So thus bioinformatics in a nutshell will allow analyze the huge amount of biological data and also will induce the advancement of the biosciences. This analysis of genomes and proteomes can yield the key findings that can be easily and experimentally tested, thus which will accelerate the rate of bioscience discovery. So if we look at the application areas of bioinformatics, I'd just like to take a few examples from few important areas. For example, evolutionary studies. How did we evolve? Who was our ancestor? Who is our closest species? Can we really always see it from our naked eye or from some wet lab experiments? There have been lots of ancestors who are extinct, and paleontologically also we have no information about them. Bioinformatics, through computation, through prediction, through modeling, has shown some hypothetical ancestors through which we have evolved and has cleared lots of misconceptions for us. When we look at so many organisms around us, we have also sequenced their genomes. Now we can compare the genomes of the organisms to see how much we are similar and dissimilar, what made one superior from the other, and what problem made one extinct. And also, when we are trying to devise a drug, and always we are thinking whether this drug will also be safe for me, we can compare the genome, compare the targets of the drugs and see and ensure that this drug may kill the bacteria of our target but not the human as such. There are lots of pollutants around us. The pollution level is increasing and we are always under the threat of getting cancerous. What causes us the mutations? What really causes the changes in the DNA? Is the chemical as a nail polish that we are going to apply, is it going to cause any problem for us? Is this plastic, is it really going to cause any problem for us? Is it really carcinogenic? Is this preservative is going to cause any change in our DNA? By bioinformatics, we can really study those effects on a hypothetical and predicted manner, then prove it in the wet lab experiment and ensure a better health and life for us. The energy energy sources are depleting for us. We cannot really rely eternally on the carbonaceous fuels. Now, scientists are saying that microbes can also generate energy for us, and we have now got better strains which can create energy from even sewage. And bioinformatics has given us lots of such organisms which have been developed and screened and been put to use these days. In the industries, always there is a search for improved strains which can give us a better yield, which can make the production happen in another altered condition, which can use another alternative resource of substrate which is also cheap for us. And we need to screen in a wet lab millions and millions of candidates and then ultimately target one which is most suitable. It is very time consuming, it is very costly process, and by bioinformatics we have got in silico screening procedures which has not only reduced the time but also the costs manifolds for the industries. The pollution level is increasing and pollutants is becoming a big problem for the companies and industries because environmental clearance is also becoming a major factor in the recent days. We have got the strains of microbes which can degrade these pollutants and make the environment safer for us, and maybe also these pollutants after degradation can be recycled and can be used as different products. We have now got different input strains, and by use of in silico studies we have seen how this can be made happen in the reality. Drugs. We are always at war with different pathogens. We need drugs because there is also resistance developing. Sometimes we need 10 years to bring the drug to the market because we have to meticulously screen the drug, test it on the different models, test it on the animals, then slowly after several phases of clinical trials, the drug can be marked safe. Bioinformatics has given us models, predictive systems of seeing how this drug might act, how this drug might be safe or unsafe, and it has not only dramatically reduced the time from the time frame for the development of these drugs, but it has also made the drugs much cheaper and much more safer for us. And tomorrow we are going for personalized medicines, molecular medicines, and this way has been paid by bioinformatics only. We need more food because the population level is increasing, the land is getting narrower and narrower because of the increasing urbanization. The crops must be yielding at a higher rate. The crops must be giving us more nutrient. The crops must be having more and more qualities. We need genetically modified crops. We need better varieties which can be drought tolerant, which can be salt tolerant, and which can be tolerating high temperature or different kind of stresses, and which can also resist the pathogens or their insects automatically. We have now got genetically modified plants, and definitely in these developments which has come to the market or in the phases of development, bioinformatics has paved a long way to it. Our body, our cell, the metabolism system. When we tried to see those metabolic pathways, later on it was understood those are not actually different pathways that we are having. It's part of an integrated circuit where one pathway leads to another, where one pathway joins to another, and bioinformatics has now integrated different pathways to show how our metabolism are linked. And it has not only given us insights into development of the better or safer drugs, we can also ensure the safety of them, and we see how actually we are responding to a molecule, to a nutrient, and to an environmental factor. We have lots of diseases which are not only caused by the pathogens but by ourselves. Our own genes, when they become non-functional, they give us lots of diseases. We can only compensate the disease by having a molecule which can compensate the metabolic deficiency, but it cannot really alter the gene. Now we have got ways to change our own genes and see how the new gene expresses in a correct format and automatically cures us from the disease. We have got the image of our total metabolism, image of our total gene expression in a single small glass slide now, the microarray analysis. It creates the imagery by which we can analyze at a given point of time how different genes are being expressed. And when we see those images, it is a very cumbersome task of a scientist to deduce the information from there. We have now got high throughput image analysis systems by which automatically we can get the gene function and gene expression pattern done and annotated and tabled by bioinformatics. So these are the few areas where I just try to mention where we can use this bioinformatics and where the industries are cashing on these systems. And when you look at the global scenario, the market for bioinformatics platforms is really growing at a significant pace, and the demand from US and in Europe is ever increasing. The Far East is not lagging behind, and developing countries are also joining the race at a faster and faster pace. It is said that the global bioinformatics market will be reaching around 8.3 billion USD by 2004, and the CAGR ratio is very high. It is around 24.8% between 2009 to 2014. Thank you for your audience. The next part of the presentation will be taken over by Rajdeep Poddar. Thank you.